Yes, I am. Good morning.
Good morning.
I love that. Yes, I am. Love. Compassion. And that's what I'm going to be talking about today, compassion. We all have it naturally. I was reminded this morning because of the weather. I mean, it's cool, but it rained. Did it rain here last night? It did in Laughlin. We love the rain, right? But I was reminded recently that we had more rain and wind than we kind of wanted. Right? Am I right? We had that. Don and I were not here, but we heard about it and we saw it. And pictures and all of that. But what I got from that the most was the compassion that came out of that. I was talking to friends, listening to people talking about the help they were getting. There was no electricity. Well, come stay with me until you get it. All of these things. And that's what we do, again, so naturally. But I believe that compassion is more than what we even think it is. It's interesting because I love looking at words, and there really is. It goes deeper than what we think. We talk about compassion, and we have it. We have it in spades. And so what really is compassion, the meaning of it? It literally means to suffer together. Compassion is a feeling or an emotion that we get when something is happening to somewhere or to someone, and we, because of our concern, we want to step up and help. That's what we want to do. But I also believe that compassion is a state of being. It's part of love. Everything is about love, and compassion is something that is a part of us, but we are invited to bring it forward more in our everyday life, not just when people are suffering, but just in our normal, everyday life. The most important thing, I believe, like anything else, it begins with us. We can show compassion, we express compassion all the time to people around us. But do we show compassion for us, for ourselves? We probably do more than you think we do. Well, let's look at some of the attributes of compassion. Kindness, of course. Love, being loving. Being patient. Being fully present with someone. Or even being present in the moment for whatever is going on. Watching our thoughts, being mindful of what's going on without judgment. And the thing with being present, especially for someone when they are going through a challenge, simply being present and allowing them to share what's going on with them. And yet showing our empathy, our compassion, our concern without getting into their situation gives us a space where there's that sacred love that raises the vibration, that raises the consciousness. And so being present also means, because when people are talking to us and they're telling us things about what's happening, especially if it's a challenge, because we're fundamentally the same, we have gone through a lot of the same things, right? When someone is talking to us, don't we think of something that's happening with us, that has happened to us in the past? That's something to pay attention to. Paying attention to in a way that still allows them to share with you without our interjecting our stuff, our situation. Does that make sense? I have to watch myself. Because it's so easy to do. Before we know it, we're like, it's all about me now. And we don't mean to do that. It's just because we're remembering. But see, when we just are present in that way, just allowing that person to be in that space. Because most of the time, people just want to be heard. They don't necessarily are asking for advice or what they should do. If they ask, wonderful. But do you understand what I'm saying? Sometimes it's just being there, having someone to talk to is healing. And that healing doesn't just help that person, it's healing for us. Because you see, we're open and receptive to spirit, understanding or listening to the wisdom that is coming through us. Because we are here, I believe, to help each other to heal and to grow and move on this journey. And we do that by being present for each other, being kind, being in a space where we don't make judgments. Relax our judgments and our opinions, because every one of us are on a journey and no one really understands who we are but us. We don't know what other people are going through. It might be similar to what we have gone through. However, the feelings, the situations, their background, their conditioning is different. It's really important to keep that in mind. Because if we want to connect in our oneness, we need to be present. Or I'm inviting us all to be better in that. And I'm saying that to myself too. We're walking this life together. And so I was called to talk about compassion, and sometimes I don't know why. So obviously I need to learn something too. Because I believe we teach what we ourselves need to learn. All right. So the thing about compassion as well, it has so many benefits for us. You know, outside of being present for others, we can also be present for ourselves. It creates a space in which we continue to heal, because we have all had past traumas that we're moving through. And one of the ways that we can connect deeper with our compassion is to, again, start with ourselves, continue to connect more deeply with our higher self, connect with God, connect with spirit, because that is the foundation of who we are. See, the more connected we are, the more we are guided, the more we are open to that wisdom that is within us. But because we're so busy doing so many things, we forget. You know that commercial on V8, you know? I could have had a V8, you know, or I could have prayed. The interesting about compassion is it isn't just about challenges, as I said. It's about everyday life. It's about everyday life. How are we responding to ourselves? How are we responding to our thoughts? Are we judging ourselves? We need to become our own best friend. You know, we are more, I believe, and I believe that we're learning, we're going that way, but I believe that sometimes we are not as kind to ourselves as we are to others. Because it's easier to give than receive. And so when we're in this state of giving compassion, it's a beautiful place to be, because while we were helping someone, maybe volunteering at an organization, I know this spiritual center helps clean the parkway, right? That's compassion. That's caring for the environment. That's caring and having compassion for the community. And so what if you help someone in need of whatever aid? When we do that, how do you feel? We feel good about ourselves, don't we? We are giving, but there's something magical that happens where we feel good about who we are. It's beautiful energy. It creates more gratitude. That's compassion. And when we're in this state, it touches our health, our well-being, our mental health. because we are living a life of purpose. We wake up in the morning and we know we're going to either this spiritual center or we're going to an organization, of many volunteer organizations here, whether it be domestic violence, whether it be the Boys and Girls Club. There's so many things that we can do to be in service. See, that's the thing. When we are in service, it does something magical to us. And that doesn't just mean organizations. Be in service to yourself, be in service to your friends, your family. Be that presence. And that's also very important, because I have spoken about it before in our group. All of life, everything is about relationships. And so compassion, when we practice compassion, it enhances and enriches our relationships with each other, because there's this sacred space where we just honor and respect each other, where we recognize the me in you. See, I am you and you are me. Yes, we have different backgrounds, we have different conditioning or different journey. We have a different journey, but ultimately, we are fundamentally the same. And that's the part that we want to fully embrace, our compassion for each other. And again, being mindful of our own way of being and how we can relate to others in that same vein of compassion. Being kind, being understanding. You know, empathy comes in here too. Empathy is about, because we can relate to someone's pain because we've been there. And a lot of times, you know how the law of attraction works, how the energies work. We will attract those people into our lives that help us to grow. And a lot of times, if not all the time, because they have gone through something similar than we have. You may not find out right away, because I know I've gotten to know some people, and over time they keep sharing their stories, and I'm amazed, like, wow, I get it. I get it. I'm to learn from that person, and that person's to learn from me. So there's never an accident or coincidence of who and what we see in our lives. Everything we do has meaning, but can we see it? And I'm not saying we have to like make it all laborious and look at everything, but recognize that there is this presence that is weaving in and out of each one of us. We can feel that energy sometimes if we're aware of it. See, it's all about awareness. Be aware of what's going on around us. And so check within us and know that when all that we do in compassion is love, and it just deepens our love for ourselves and others. Because we know the more we show compassion for ourselves, the more we have to give others. It's just that natural part of us will come out more naturally, more authentically. Does that make sense? Yes. It goes without saying. You know, we are so beautiful. We have so much magic in us. Sometimes we're afraid to really recognize who we are. That's why I love that song, Yes, I Am. Yes, I am. And so, have that courage to be all you can be, knowing that right where we are is perfect. There's nothing wrong with us in this moment. I don't believe there is a right or wrong. It's always enough. It's always enough and more. See, we're growing into our becoming that which we already are. See, that's that switch that we continue to turn on. I mentioned it probably here too, that we know there's electricity in the room. It's there. But unless we turn on that switch, there's no awareness of light in the room. And so let us continue to wake up. Wake up that incredible, magnificent. Sometimes there are no words to say who we are, because I know I was raised in an environment where I didn't think I was worth anything. But you know, we come to places like this for a reason. We come to sanctuaries, we come to spiritual communities for a reason. We were called here. It's not a coincidence that we're here. And it's not a coincidence that we're here today. And the people that are here in this room. It is not a coincidence. There's something greater than us inside our higher self, that God presence, that is asking us or guiding us to be more compassionate with ourselves. There's this light within us. No matter whatever happens in our life, there's a light that never, never goes out. It's like one of those candles that never blows out. What are those electric ones? Or if you happen to have a birthday and somebody puts on those candles that you can't blow out, those are fun. I think you had that recently. But you understand what I'm saying? So compassion is something that we want to embrace and fully, to really become that presence. Recognizing that it is through our kindness and our patience, the wisdom that comes through, the words we speak, the heart that we are. See, it's about becoming a passionate, compassionate heart and soul. Because when we get to that place where we just embody that whole essence of compassion, it's going to grow, or it's going to move into places that you were not, or I was not aware of before. As I mentioned, I knew about compassion, but why was I called to talk about it? Because it goes deeper. It's a state of being. Just like love, because it is love. And so I invite you to just simply know that I am, that you are, compassion. See, when we say that whatever words we use, whether it be love, compassion, kindness, if we say it in a way that says, I am compassion, rather than, and there's no wrong in this, I will be compassionate. There's power in that. But there's more power when we say, I am, and whatever the word follows. Compassion, love, kind. There's power in that. We know that. That's a great affirmation. And so I believe gratitude is also a part of compassion. Because it creates this powerful energy to let others know that we are grateful that you're here, that you're in my life. Have you ever told people, and I've heard it a lot lately, I'm so grateful you're in my life. That's compassion. That's recognizing the you in me, and vice versa. Gratitude is so powerful. And even when we go through challenges, and we have had people show us compassion, see, this is an opportunity for us to give back. I don't know where I would be had people not shown me compassion. Think about that. Where would we be if someone somewhere down the line hasn't shown us compassion, hasn't shown us love, that we were okay? You're going to be okay. See, we look in the mirror. We look in the mirror every day when we get ready, but do we really look in the mirror? I know doing mirror work, at first it's like uncomfortable or awkward to look, to really look in your eyes. But when we practice, see, life is all about practice, compassion, love, kindness. It's all about practice every day. But when we really look into our eyes, we're practicing this presence that is within us. That is love, that is compassion. Because I know sometimes we're so, and I know I probably speak for myself, we're so hard on ourselves. I know once in a blue moon, maybe more than that, I will have an emotional meltdown about something that the next day you realize was nothing. Ever had those? It's like big in this moment. And we're obsessing and we're emotional. And the next day, if we do our spiritual practice, we're like, well, what was all that about? That was my perception because of this feeling or that feeling. It triggered something from my past. And it was nothing. Most things are nothing. And I'm not saying nothing in the sense that we don't feel it. I encourage us all to feel our feelings when we feel it. Because I'm going to guarantee you, if we don't deal with those feelings, we'll deal with it down the road, and it's going to be worse. I've experienced that. Because it gets bottled up to a point where we can go to a place of no return. And please pray for the people in front of me. Right? You go, oh, I didn't mean that, but you know. So this is where compassion for ourselves. I keep going back to ourselves because that's where it starts. And so when we can see that in ourselves, we can be more understanding, more compassionate to others. Because we've been there. And I know sometimes, if you were here for the meditation this morning, being compassionate for someone with whom you're having difficulty, or a situation with whom you're having difficulty, that could be, you have to take 2 breaths instead of 1. But take that breath, because you know what? That person we're having difficulty is us. And whatever difficulty we are having or have had is a perception of what we think is happening. Compassion. Throw some compassion on top of that. And remember, we are all walking through this journey the best way we know how. And so we're invited to always be open and receptive to Spirit. You never know who's going to come into your life to encourage you. And sometimes there's those days when we aren't feeling that great. I remember many years ago when my father passed. I got on the plane and I had the window seat, and then the middle seat was empty, and there was someone sitting in the aisle. And I was happy. I was like so sad. I was in my own world, and I was just looking out the window. And then 2 people came in late. There was one lady, and she had all this paraphernalia, big purse, everything. She's walking down the aisle, hitting everybody. And I'm like, oh, please, 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 please don't sit here. Guess where she's at. I'll never forget it. But she was an angel. She sat there and said, hi, how are you? How's it going on? I mean, she was so friendly. And she dug into that big old purse of hers, and she had some snacks. She goes, have you eaten? I said, well, no. So she fed me. She gave me food to eat. And then she said, oh, well, wait, I have some water. Do you want some water or whatever? Oh, my gosh. She was like this mother nurturing me. And I didn't even want it. But I was open to it, and then I was able to contribute something. I gave her a mint after all the snacks we had. I'll never forget that day. That was a real magical moment. Just when we think we are alone, we are not. We are so connected. And I don't know who this woman is. I'll probably never see her again. And I know all of us have had those experiences. I could tell you other experiences I've had, but it's not all about me. But I'm telling you, be open to those moments. Be open to someone who says hello. And be that person who says hello. Say hi to people you don't even know. I know Don does that on his walk. It's so beautiful, you know. He's a friendly guy. He says hi to everybody. And even those people who aren't in that space to say hello back, eventually they started saying hi back. See how contagious and what an impact we can make just being and living in our compassion and love? We do make a difference. All of us makes a difference. A smile. Just a simple smile sometimes. You ever been somewhere where you just walk in and you just smile at someone and they reciprocate, and even if they don't, it's okay, they received it. Because we don't know what's going on. So all of these things continues to raise our vibration, our frequency. And we know that when we do, it affects everything and everyone else, as well as our pets. We have great compassion for our pets here. I know that. They, I believe, are some of the greatest teachers of love and compassion. Why? Because it's unconditional. They don't judge, no matter what. We've had pets. They are unconditional. They love you. They have compassion. They sense us. You know, most of you or a lot of you have a dog or a cat. They know when we're not feeling well or something. Don't they snuggle up? You know, they do. I love to watch pets and children. Children are another example of how they can be compassionate. I remember, God, years ago, and this young man, he was very little, and I don't remember what I was going through, but he and his sister always came in to, before going to junior church, they'd come into the sanctuary, in the lobby there. And they always gave me a hug every morning. And so this young man, this little boy, gave me his hug as usual. He walked away, and then he came back and gave me another hug. A longer, deeper, tighter hug. Never forget that either. You know, he was very in tune. See, that's the thing. When we connect with our higher self, we become more in tune with the universe. We become more in tune with people. It matters. We matter. And there's always someone here. Always. And even when we aren't around people, we are still not alone. Because when we nurture that compassion within ourselves, we nurture ourselves. And we understand that we are part of all that exists. That's why we come here, is to continue to remind ourselves who we are. We have beautiful words that come through, regardless of who's speaking here. While I'm speaking, I know there are words coming through. We're getting downloads of things we need to hear. And so our perceptions and our compassion allows us this space, allowing us to see from other people's point of view, their perspective on their situation, on their life. We allow that. In essence, if we walk in their shoes even for a moment, we will have a greater understanding. Just imagine how they feel, how they might feel. How would you feel if someone told you some stuff that they were going through? Imagine yourself, how would I feel? How would I feel? What would I do? Who would I speak to? It just sort of brings that full circle, doesn't it? Doesn't it? When we recognize that we are all one. I believe in our oneness, not just with people, but everything. People, places, things. Whatever happens with us emanates outward, but it begins with us. And I know when we go out today, we are so filled with compassion. People are going to feel that when you're out at the grocery store or whatever, even going home. You're going to feel that. Because while I've been speaking here, we have all been creating that space of compassion. Because it isn't just about me speaking here. We were doing this together. And I thank you for that. I'm grateful for all of you who have supported me and who have shown me compassion. And so while we're in this space, let's move into a little meditation. If you feel, just close your eyes. And simply know that I am compassion. I embrace it fully. I am present in this moment. I am present in life as a whole, connecting with that essence within us, within you and me, guiding us into compassion for ourselves and others. We are open and receptive to life. We understand deeply that we are blessed with the beautiful essence of compassion that just pours from within outward into and onto everyone we meet. And so in this sacred space of love, I invite you to ask yourself, what more can I do to be more compassionate to myself and to others? And so allow yourself a moment of silence to allow that guidance, that wisdom to come through. Be open and receptive to it. So, as we receive our messages and words of wisdom, I invite you to embrace them deeply. with the understanding that compassion that we are called to be is already within us. We allow ourselves simply to be that presence as we move into the world today. Simply be who we are authentically, being kind, loving, patient, caring. And as we embrace these beautiful words of compassion, we give thanks. For it is in our gratitude that we feel the magic of our compassion more deeply. We raise our vibration because that light within us is shining more brightly right now and right here in this moment, and continues to shine throughout the day and beyond that. And so I simply invite you to just be in your compassion and allow it to expand as you move throughout the day. No, we are blessed, for we are the blessing. And we are grateful for life itself. And yes, I am compassionate. Namaste.
We are so grateful for you and Don to be such endearing members to our family. Thank you so much. I know you're going on a trip. Be safe. God bless. And see you when you get back.